my dad. Father's Day is rapidly approaching, and I have a lot of memories about him and his pursuit of the ladies. My parents divorced when I was 8 years old, and he went into an immediate kind of midlife crisis. Grew the hair out, had a ponytail, diamond stud in the ear. He started dyeing his hair, which was actually, graying, but beautiful, kind of lustrous blonde hair, and dyed it this matte jet black. Just stripped all the shine out of it. Looked terrible, but he thought he looked pretty hot. Along with his uniform that he began wearing, he started wearing all black, jet black, all the time. Black slacks, long button down, and a little bit of bling. He had a mermaid ring on his pinky finger. The mermaid's body wrapped around his finger, and the tail was encrusted with diamonds, and he had it like custom made. And we actually are quarter Cherokee, so the end result, he looked like a mafioso of sorts because he was so tan, so leathery tan, and the jet black hair. And people thought he was pretty cool, and I'm not so sure how I felt at the time, but I wasn't too keen on it, I guess. But anyway, he was always on a quest for love, but he told me specifically that he never wanted to date an American woman again. And I was so young, I was like, okay, I don't know what your problem is with American women, because that's what I'm going to be one day, but all right. So this led to a string of dating, women of random nationalities, which is totally cool. But his first pursuit was actually mail-order brides. He started looking into mail-order brides. In the early 90s, you'd get an actual catalog with, women from all over, say, the Philippines or Russia. And, they'd be seeking good Christian men and green cards, things like that. But, so that was something he was always actively pursuing, writing letters to these women and things like that. He also was very much an early adopter of internet chats and was really into Prodigy chat platforms. His first significant girlfriend after my parents got divorced was actually a woman who my friends and I affectionately called the cyber lover. And she was from Nova Scotia. And he actually met her online and chatted with her and then flew up to Nova Scotia. 2 weeks later, she was living with us. And she was a pretty cool lady. She developed websites. She designed websites. If you ever look at old websites and, something, say, from, 1995, she probably designed it. Then the next significant girl was actually, I call her girl, I refer to her as kid sister. The reason being is that she was very tiny, very sweet. I have to say, I have to give her props because she was really instrumental in getting me my first car. So I can't say too many bad things. But she was a really petite woman because she suffered from a kidney problem. So that resulted in people mistaking her for either being my little sister, for example, going to a school assembly, and, there's not enough seats, so she ends up sitting on my dad's lap, and everybody's like, hey, is that your little sister? And I'm like, no, that's my dad's girlfriend. And they're like, oh, that's weird. And then, another example would be, my dad had to go to the hospital, he had some heart palpitation issues, and I went to visit him, and, the nurses said, oh, Ms. Eads, we're so glad you're here. Your daughter was here earlier. I said, I'm the daughter. So after many years of dating women like this, and also many younger ladies who I never met, thank God, and also having to deal with people, bringing friends over and my dad saying, hey, your friend Maria's kind of cute. How old is she? Is she 18? So, I got a little sick of hearing about all the exploits and the different women. But then I went to college, and, my dad needed somebody to do laundry and clean the house. So he was like, holy shit, I gotta get a wife. And he realized that he lived in Miami. And there are people who need green cards everywhere. So he said, why would I bring a wife in from the Philippines when I've got all these great candidates right here? And he managed to find himself a lovely Brazilian lady. I'll leave her name out of the story. But, initially I did think it was for the green card. And I had a lot of doubts about her. But I was in college and he said, oh, I met this woman, I'm going to marry her, and she's from Brazil, and she's so exotic, and, I really like her. Then I met her and she didn't speak any English. And my dad doesn't speak any Portuguese. And so I was like, Dad, I know you don't want to date an American woman. I still don't really understand that. But don't you at least want to be able to communicate? And he said, well, we can communicate. And so then I started to observe them. And they have created, over the years, their own special language. I told you earlier that my dad's a bit like a mafioso looking, so it's kind of a mishmash of baby talk, English, Portuguese, and an Italian accent. For instance, if we're sitting over dinner, eating a steak and potato, he'll look at her and say, "You gosto beefy?" "You gosto beefy." She'll nod. She'll agree. She gustos beefy. If they're at the store and he suggests a certain, item for the house, she'll say, "Me don't like this." If he's dying for a soda, as he often is, he'll ask someone to fetch it for him, but when he asks her, he says, "Get me coca." I really didn't understand this whole baby language that they created. I thought that this woman was going to be gone for sure, and, I thought she didn't love my dad, and, but I knew shit was getting really serious when they got a lizard pet. My dad's wife found an iguana in that neighborhood and brought it home. And they built a huge cage for it in the backyard, and they refer to it as the baby. I don't understand love sometimes. It's really difficult, but I think, love means different things to different people. And if having a wife that you communicate in a made-up language, and your child is a 6-foot-long iguana, more power to you, right? Have a good night, baby.